Welcome back to another episode of Cabin in the Clearing. Today we have our guest Abe Shep. He's a local musician out of the Ottawa-Gatineau region, and we've been waiting to do this, and we're going to get him on to our show today. And also we have JP.
What up, yo?
AKA JHC, artist name. So we'd like to thank you, Abe, for coming on our show today and taking the time out of your day to talk about your basically your musical aspirations, how long you've been playing music, and what does the future look like for you. Those are definitely some questions I'd like to get into it. But yeah, why don't you just tell us a bit about your background and kind of like, you know, how you got into music and how you even started playing in the first place.
Well, first I'll say thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And well, how I first got into music, that was the first question?
Yep.
Honestly, I was just 14 years old. I had a bunch of friends that wanted to start a band, just randomly. We were all just like hanging out and we were all very much into music. And a friend of mine had a guitar, another friend had drums, and I think we were gonna have like 2 drummers in the band or something like that because we were all very much into Slipknot, and we were just like, yeah, let's just have 2 drummers going on and doing their thing. And they were like, yeah, we need a bass player, so Brad, you buy a bass. And I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about guitar, but I guess I'll just do it. And I bought a bass and I learned how to play it, and from then on I just became a musician and started writing songs like pretty shortly after I picked up the bass. And actually there are a few songs that actually, there's very little songs that I remember writing at the age of 14 or 15, but there's only one that I have that I finished like years later, and I'm pretty proud that I've remembered that enough to finish it.
That's awesome.
And but I've mostly been writing consistently since I was like maybe 19, 20, and I started taking songwriting seriously then. But yeah.
That's dope, man. Do you would you say you predominantly like use the bass to actually start writing your songs, or do you go more guitar? Do you kind of just start lyrics?
Actually, it all varies, but like I really rarely write songs on bass, but I have for a few of them. And there's a song that I've been working on in the studio for years, and that's a song that I actually wrote on bass. And there's very few of those, so I usually write on the guitar. But with the song that I wrote when I was 14, I wrote that on bass, and I don't know if that's ever gonna come to life or not, but it's out there, and it's a very intense love story that I just made up, and it's kind of, I think it was inspired by Romeo and Juliet or something. But yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Or do you have a name for it at all, or?
I called it Shortened, and I don't know why. I think I mean that word is in the lyrics, so I guess yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
It's funny, actually. It's funny you say that, because a lot of the times when I'm looking for a title for like a name for a song, like if I'm writing a song, I always tend to kind of deviate to finding a word that's very prominent in the songwriting and the actual words for the song title.
Oh, so it's not actually in the lyrics, but it like.
No, it is. It's in the lyrics, but often that becomes the title of the song. You know.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like
yeah.
what you were just saying. But what I wanted to know was, so you is bass your main like instrument that you play with right now?
No, not really. I mean, I've sometimes, you know, with my solo project, I just sometimes I don't even touch an instrument. Sometimes I'm working with a few people that are just either making a beat or just playing guitar or piano, and sometimes I just focus on my lyrics and my vocals. But there was one song where I play guitar on, and I think that was the only time I picked up an instrument. There's going to be 4 songs on my next EP that's coming out.
Sick.
But in terms of bass, I mean, bass was the first instrument I learned how to play, and I was in a band for 6 years just doing bass and singing. But yeah, mainly just bass and guitar is just what I do. You know, I know how to play a little bit of keyboards, but I don't think I know. If somebody told me how to play a C or a G on a piano, I'm like, where's that? Is the black keys or the white keys? I wouldn't know what to tell you. So
Yeah, well, learning the piano isn't like the way that the keys are like structured and the way that it's laid out. It's you could pick it up easily, especially if you have a reference of bass and guitar.
Oh,
It
yeah.
would be a lot more easier than I think a lot of people would think.
It's true. People say that like learning guitar or piano and vice versa. Like if you do one or the other, it's like you have a lot easier of a time learning the other because of
I think so,
just 'cause-
yeah.
I guess piano is basically laid out like if you took all the strings and kind of just laid them out in a row, you know, like in longevity or whatever.
I think the main issue I have is just remembering how the chords are shaped and stuff like that.
Oh,
It's just
fair.
But like so I can figure out like what a C sounds like on a piano or whatever, and just do even more interesting things with it because there's a lot more flexibility on the piano as opposed to the guitar, I find, you know. But I just don't know my way around the piano enough to.
Honestly, I've always like myself like same thing. Like I've like just basic knowledge of kind of like the C scale, which is basically just the white keys in general. Like it's
Yeah.
the one that doesn't use any of the black keys, which is kind of nice. So it makes it easy in that sense. But it was nice because like I figured out just like a basic chord progression in the low, and then it was like you were saying, there's no really restrictions because I was just kind of like going with my ear a little bit, and I knew I could just hit the white keys in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
But it was like. I didn't really have a sense of it right away, but it was just like you could just flow in that sense. Like you could just kind of create on the go. And it's like, but it's nice to hear the notes actually fall into place as you're doing it.
Yeah, there's just something about piano that's just I don't know. It's just such a different way of looking at music when you play it. It seems like things are more accessible. I don't know how to put it. You know, like you don't have to stretch on the neck of the guitar or anything like that. You know, yeah.
It's true. Maybe it's because it's given like, if you think about it, like the nature of a piano, like it's given so much room to just like, it's got a big string inside of it, it's got a
Yeah.
hammer hitting down on it. It's like the key itself is so sensitive to touch. And it's like, yeah, maybe it just makes it like super prominent. That's sick. And what is the name of the EP, if you don't mind me asking, like that you're going to be dropping?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure when I'm dropping it exactly, but hopefully in the next couple of months. And it's called Love.
Sick.
And that was just a name that my producer kept tossing around, even though we didn't really have a name for the EP yet. And the songs were all love songs, so I guess that's why he decided to call it that. And
Who's your producer? Like, who are you working with?
a guy named Sebastian, and we've been working together for a number of years now. And I just met him on Kijiji because I was looking for a bass player, and then he said like, "Oh, I also produce." So
Really?
yeah. So
Sick, dude.
Oh, that's cool.
We've been working together ever since, and it's sometime, we started recording and doing demos in 2016, and it took me a while to finally put something out there. But during the pandemic is when I released my first release, and yeah.
That's interesting you say that because a lot of people, for sure, especially because of the pandemic, they're stuck at home, right? So that's the time to kind of get creative and to kind of like dive into these kinds of like projects. I mean, we personally, me and Justin, we're releasing a song, but I feel you on the whole like, it takes so long to release something. We've been working on our song for almost over a year now, and now it's finally like ready to be mastered, and we're gonna do a music video in April, end of April. So we're looking forward to that. But
That's awesome.
It's sometimes it's hard because. You want it now. You want to just like, hey, let's just do this. But then it just takes the time that it takes, and sometimes it's almost rewarding in a way not to rush it. You know what I mean?
Oh, it totally is. I mean, sometimes it's really like frustrating, and you're really eager to get something out that you've been holding inside of you for so long. But like, sometimes you really just have to take the time for the perfect take to come, I guess.
100%.
That's it.
Yeah.
And really feel like it's, because it is at the end of the day your soul in tangible form. So it's like it's nice to take the time to actually like make sure it's up to standard. It's like a chef, taking the time to finally perfectly cook a meal or something like,
meal,
yeah, it's like I'm not going to serve you like a half-ass steak, until I'm like good at
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And it's like, but that shows your appreciation for your own artwork, and I think that's like crucial, It's like, so like, not to be a dick about it, but I'll almost like compare it to George R. R. Martin. People were like always like shitting on him for taking so long to write like Game of Thrones books, and he's just there and he's like, "Yo, I'll finish it when it's ready."
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
like,
Don't rush me. Don't rush.
yeah,
don't
and it's
rush
like
hard, as they say.
Totally. It's like fair enough. People want to like hear things or know things like sooner than later, and it's like, but at the end of the day, it's someone's individual thing that they're putting out there, so you can't really like rush it,
Yeah, you can't be too demanding on a product, I guess, when it's a creative thing, especially when it comes to music or film or whatever. I guess you know.
You were saying earlier that like when you started playing bass or whatever, you were kind of like doing a lot of like I guess genre metal. That's what you were saying, or Slipknot or something. You mentioned Slipknot a bit.
Well, I think I don't really know what I mean. This was just a bunch of my friends. We were just kind of like messing around in a basement. I don't really think we really created anything. We didn't even like make a song. We were just kind of just doodling on our guitars.
What genre do you play now, and like how did that kind of resonate with you?
Oh, it's hard to say what genre I do, but I guess I do everything from pop, R&B, blues, reggae.
Yeah,
It's
Nice.
just
culmination, man. There is
Yeah.
no genre, dude.
I just love all kinds of music, and back then I just I definitely liked Slipknot. I liked Smashing Pumpkins, the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah,
listened to all kinds of music together, the Deftones, as friends, and it's too bad, like I was in a really creative spot because music was so fresh and so exciting to me. I really wanted to create something, but I could never get people to be serious about it, I guess.
Yeah, it can be. It's hard to find people who are on the same wavelength as you. Creatively, musically, who kind of want the same goals as you. Especially when you're working with like bands and stuff like that. A lot of people leave the band. A lot. So it's just like. There's an expression that somebody told me a long time ago, and it was, your project or your band or who you are is like a train. It's a moving train, right?
Oh, for sure.
And you're the fucking conductor, and like people are gonna get off, and people are gonna get on. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And that's what a band is at the end of the day. And hopefully you can find someone who has the same values as you and wants to be a part of the bigger picture, and that stays on the train, because the train doesn't have anywhere it ends, really, if you keep going.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy. Yeah,
I like that. You
Yeah.
haven't told me that yet, man.
Yeah, I got things in the arsenal,
dude. Yeah, the bag of tricks. Actually, I was meaning to ask, especially like because I've been back doing a lot of live sound and stuff like that. Do you did you plan on maybe doing any performing anytime soon, or
I have a gig actually on April 7th.
Oh,
at
killer.
the Rainbow. So
nice, dude?
With who?
with I should know their names by now, but I should look this up because they should.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
You don't mind if I take out my phone?
No,
No,
go for
not
it,
at all.
man.
Because right now I feel
Yo,
bad that
raw
I forgot
footage,
their names.
bro.
So.
Oh, it's all good. It seems like I mean you're a busy guy and you have multiple projects maybe going on.
But it's nice because at the same time, taking the time to shout them out. We're just like,
That's it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it, you want to do it properly. So that's.
And you said it's at the Rainbow, eh?
It's at the Rainbow.
I'm super
yeah.
glad, man. One of my favorite venues in the city.
I'm so glad that it was rumored to close down, and now like
it got saved.
yeah, it got
100%.
saved.
Yeah, I was really stoked too.
I'm not sure if it's gonna stay around forever, but it's gonna stay around for the time being, which is really I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah, it's like we'll be there until it does.
Well, it's just
Which hopefully it
unfortunate
won't.
that these kinds of businesses who've been there for so long and provided entertainment for so many people,
Absolutely, dude.
are forced to shut down. I understand that the pandemic is serious.
Oh yeah.
And you should take it serious, and a lot of people got affected by it for sure. You get people who are stuck at home; they have mental health. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it's just important in general for these types of venues to stay, ongoing, because there's such a pivotal, especially for like where we live in Ottawa. We need those venues.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's community, man.
it was honestly kind of daunting hearing about all these venues that I grew up playing at, and it's just like Babylon closed down. Like I think what else closed down? Like a lot of these Pressed and things like
Coven, like another place, that was like a local, I think, punk one, like a place called Coven that was like more of a punk, like kind of metal place.
What was it called?
Oh, is that like across the street from the Rainbow?
I think so, or close by.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
like
shit.
K-O-V-E-N or whatever.
I don't know. I never heard of this.
I feel like I was just hearing about so many places closing down, just like outside of music, like all the,
Just local businesses in general.
yeah, just so like obviously it wasn't a surprise to see like live entertainment venues being closed down, but yeah. So, hey everybody, I just wanted to.
We're back.
I have the names of the people I'm playing a show with on April 7th. Finally, I didn't forget about them.
April 7th.
I kind of did. but
Rainbow.
I just forgot their names. Matthew Oliver is going to be playing with me, along
Okay.
with Nicole Bouvier.
Okay.
I think her band is called Summer and Solstice. So
Oh, cool.
Killer.
I'm just
I
waiting.
haven't heard of these. I haven't heard of them.
Yeah, well, I'll have a Facebook event posted really soon, and
Yeah, maybe I'll
Get that
come check it out.
circulating, yeah.
April 7th is what on is that on a school night or is that on a weekend? Or?
it's a school night. Unfortunately, it's a Thursday night. It's
Yeah.
the only night that I could get.
That's fine. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
I'll get a Friday next time.
So what do you so this is one project that you're in. You've gone on tour. I know that for sure. You've gone on tour with Tribe Royal. Tribe Royal was getting some traction for sure. I want to say back in the day, but it's only been a couple of years. I mean, you played Blues Fest, right?
We did, yeah. We had a really amazing blues fest together. We got to open for Sam Roberts' band, and we got to join them on stage, and that was a moment that I'll never forget. And
You
I-
played
I
live
really
with
got
Sam,
us-
or did you
That's
join them?
amazing,
Wow,
dude.
that's crazy. I met Sam Roberts at Blues Fest.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
nice
'cause
guy.
we played that year 2017 when we played, and then basically we had these the backstage badges, but like the backstage passes. Sorry, but yeah, and then at one point I was just like had a couple beers. I was like fuck it, I'm just gonna walk through this like area because I think your pass is only good for like your area or something, or you can't go into every single area. And I just like
Okay.
charged through, and I'm like, no, I'm an artist, like. And then the security guard's like, oh okay, and then he just like let me in. And then like Sam Roberts was literally walking by. I was with Kayo-Tea, me and Kayo-Tea, because
Yeah,
I got him a
okay.
backstage pass, yeah. And like obviously you see someone like Sam Roberts, you don't want to like fangirl, and you know
Yeah,
what I
of
mean. You don't want to be
course.
like, oh, Sam Roberts. So it's like he was there and he was like talking to people. So I'm like, look, I'm just gonna chill back. I'm gonna hold back. I'm gonna and let him do his thing, and then just casually like hey Sam. I really appreciate you, man. And then like we shook hands and stuff, and that was it. And
That was a
Kayo-Tea,
brief thing, yeah.
So
he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, like we actually like had the pleasure of just sitting down with him for a bit and interviewing him, and
Nice.
it was just cool. It was not awkward. It was like not like intimidating or whatever, and it's just seeing a guy that you've heard all over the radio and in videos and stuff like that. Sometimes you just can't help but think of. You can't help but feel a little bit starstruck, and
Well,
like,
that's it.
And like, wow, this
That's
is like a dude that just like he's like a character on like a TV show, It's just like
yeah, no,
So
100%.
true.
Yeah.
Actually, it's cool that you mentioned that. I have just a quick story that was something like relative to that was just blew my mind afterwards, and it was nice to have experienced the interaction before finding out. So I was basically working at the store I work at, and there was two people in there, and they were just like a couple, and they were kind of checking out the store. I guess they somehow through my manager's parents like knew the business and just wanted to kind of come support for one of the opening days and like check out the shop. So I'm talking to this couple and really nice, like they were just super friendly and just kind of like really calm, and like they had like a really just like peaceful energy sort of thing, you know what I mean? Like they were just like very like like a lot of tranquility, I guess is what I'm saying. But I was kind of showing them around, and then they were like, oh yeah, okay, cool, like thanks for giving us some info and whatever, and we'll buy a couple of these things. And they just kind of like picked up some stuff, and as they were leaving, like she gave me these little pieces of paper that had like affirmations on them almost, and they were just like printouts she had made in abundance.
Wow.
And they said little things like oh, like let your light shine, and like be happy, or like just literally like simple things about enjoying life and like kind of like feeling good, And I just thought it was really sweet of her, and I was like, oh, thanks. I put it in my wallet and whatever, and then they took off, and then yeah, and it was just kind of cool because after after serving this couple and like just having a really nice interaction with them, they left the store, and my manager was like, oh, like, hey man, Alanis's parents were pretty nice, eh? And I was just like, who, like Alanis who? And he's like, Alanis Morissette, like the singer. And I was like, holy shit, dude, like that's really cool, And I kind of got like amped up about it, and I got almost like, oh, I want to talk to them again, and be like, but then immediately I caught myself and I was like, it's cool that I got to interact with them without that sort of idea ahead of time, Like
for sure,
I was
yeah.
just able to enjoy that. And like you were saying about Sam Roberts, it's like obviously you knew who he was before you talked to him anyway, but it's just nice to sit in an environment and just realize that it's literally just another human being who's just
100%,
doing their thing. And
it's yeah, it's weird, like when it comes to like people in the media, or like whether they're actors or whether they're musicians, you can't help it. I don't know if the feeling is starstruck, but you just look at them and you know who they are immediately, and just I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's just like it's just I kind of wonder where that comes from, you know? It's just
No,
like, you know, they're just regular people, but they're just like, oh, they're so awesome and they're so this and that. You can't help but be like, almost like shaken up when you meet somebody like that, you know?
It's so true, and it's funny you bring that up though. It's like because there's almost a difference in the dynamic. Sometimes it's like it's one thing to be like, you know, meeting someone and excited, you know, but then there's like you said it on the other side, like it taking away from the excitement and just being like an idle thing.
Yeah.
You just made me think of a video I watched that just tripped me the fuck out. Like it was like this other camera angle of someone behind like other people standing near this carpet. And then there was paparazzi there and stuff, and it was Kanye West, you know, and he was like getting out, and he's walking, and he kind of smiles, and he's got his hands in his pocket, and he's just walking into this place, you know, studio or something, going to do like his daily shit, and he's like walking in, and people are like, "Yo, Kanye, yo, I love you, bro," and he'd like smile, and he'd stop, and then it's just like a quick like people immediately just at the side selfie. Boom, look at their phone and walk away.
Yeah.
And he's like frowning again. And then he's like walking to the next person. And then it's just like, again, same kind of like, and he quickly signs something. And then, but people like almost like drop and walk away. And it's, again, I'm not blaming people for being starstruck or anything. Like it's totally normal,
It's a normal
to like,
thing,
and people
nothing
are in a
wrong with it.
rush and like, you don't
Yeah.
want to maybe take their time, but it's just funny. Like I could just see it in his face more so that it was just like, he was just like a pawn for excitement, like a pawn for like, you know, amping people up and being like, oh, there's that guy, but he wasn't really like related to in any way by anybody.
It's weird
And
because like I guess there's an element of like, oh, I saw like a really talented rapper. I got to tell all my friends, and like, you know, he's such a big personality. But like I don't feel like I have the perspective of there's nothing to brag about something like that. You know, I think it's like, it's cool that I saw like, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio at a cafe or whatever. But you know, it's just some people are just like, oh my god, you know, and that's fine.
Well, so people,
Yeah.
they do it too to name drop, right? They're like, "Oh, I met this person." They like amp themselves up a bit, you know. So it's like, depends how you use it. But yeah, I see what you're saying too. It's
Oh yeah, no, and again, it's human nature. Like I'm not saying it's not good to be excited about seeing someone. It was just it's just weird sometimes how media and like celebrity culture just takes away from our human perspective a bit, like
Yeah.
in general
Yeah,
day to
for
day
sure.
life. That's all it is, I guess. But
The idolatry aspect of it.
yeah, exactly. But you know, also people are on a rush. They have their paparazzi or they have their crew around them. Like you can't really also being just a pedestrian stop them and like have a conversation. Anywhere,
it happens to them
it's
all
like
the
it's
time
happened
too,
Yeah,
right?
that's the thing.
That's
They're
another
used to
thing,
it
yeah.
too. So it's a weird dynamic.
But I think I think the idolatry aspects, you know, it creates like this thing where people just like, you know, they can just approach an artist and just ask for their autograph and just almost like bother them. So I think that's when it becomes kind of an ugly thing.
that's
To some
really-
extent,
yeah.
you know, but yeah.
100%.
That's really well put. I actually really like that you bring that up because yeah, it's like there's a sense of entitlement, like
Yeah.
an sense of entitlement to someone's time and energy.
Yeah.
And you don't know what they're going through, what part of the day they're in, and it's like, but just
Exactly.
because they're celebrity, it's like they feel like they're your public servant or something.
Yeah,
And it's just
yeah.
like because they serve you music, so it's just like they can serve you their time or something like that.
Yeah,
That is a strange dynamic, actually.
it's crazy to think about that. Yeah, it's true though.
Damn.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to just ask you a bit about your music. And do you ever write about like what do you mainly write about? I mean, personally, I write about love. I write a lot about love. Don't know why, it just comes to me naturally. But do you ever like involve any like political aspects or troubling issues in the world in your music in any way? Or
Oh yeah, I mean, the first EP that I released, there were a couple of reggae songs on there, and there was this one song called "The Wild Animals," and I wrote it about, you know, all the ivory poaching that takes place in Africa, and you know,
Damn.
No way.
at the time when I wrote it, it was years ago. I really wanted to be a vegetarian, and I I wrote this lyric that says, "There's no need to sacrifice the animal's flesh and blood," and it was a pretty intense lyric, and I was thinking about, you know, just really about being a vegetarian, and I'm not a vegetarian right now, but like I wanted to be at the time, and so that's where a lot of the lyrics came from, you know, just about you know, the injustice in the world, and yeah, so
Yeah, and even though you're saying about like vegetarian at the time or not, it's like it does associate to the fact though that there's always an overabundance of like too much utilization of one resource or an animal or like, you know, and just kind of like meaningless taking of life, you know, and not so much like the old school hunting aspect of like people collecting food and using it for everything, you know. It's like, yeah, it's like, because ivory trade, yeah, it's like I think a lot of the elephants and stuff like that, they just like toss the bodies, I'm guessing, and like
Well, they use some of their like some of these things that get turned into something like as meaningless as ornaments and stuff like that. Like that's what they use the tusks for. It's just like pretty.
They used to use those on pianos, grand pianos,
That too, yeah.
ivory for the keys. I had one actually in my living room growing up, and I had ivory keys. Yeah.
like it's kind of an arbitrary reason to use.
I didn't buy it though.
animals,
Just so you guys know on YouTube, I did not buy it.
I do not support.
But I would actually like to just take this opportunity real quick to shout out to our sponsor, Kayo-Tea. There's some packaging in the back. Hopefully you guys can see it. Kayo-Tea is locally grown, organic, handcrafted tea, and that's what we're drinking right now. And hopefully Abe Shep likes it.
I can confirm that this is very delicious and rejuvenating. So
we
we
just
just
like to-
purchase it for the sake of your own being.
So this is only
Very well put, thank
this is only Canadian for the Canadian market. Kayo-Tea does not ship internationally yet, but he's looking into it.
Yep, damn right.
And I just wanted to also know, so like going back to what you were saying about how you're talking about like, you know, the ivory and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you do reggae. Like, are those your biggest influences, like musically, like genre wise? Like where do you grab different genres from to kind of like create your sound?
Honestly, like I love so many different kinds of music, so many different kinds of moods and genres. I usually write from the perspective of what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. So whether I'm angry or whether I'm, a song like that, like the Wild Animals, like I really just, I think the music came first, and then I just decided to, discuss, ivory poaching and things of that nature. And so I just, I've only written maybe like 5 or 6 reggae songs, and I've written like maybe 300-400 songs, but
In all?
Yeah, I mean
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the
Jesus.
ideas are there for those songs, but like I don't think they're completely done. But for the most part, like the verses and the choruses and the bridges are all there. So I've got a number of them, just kind of
Kick
left
ass.
there, yeah.
I love reggae. Like I love ska. Like I play a lot of like that kind of like calypso and just like different types of rhythms like that too as
Yeah.
well. Like on guitar. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw Blast from the Sun back in the day, but we mixed it up for sure.
Oh, I definitely saw like a variety there. There's
but-
a bit of blues, a bit of everything.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, it's like even as you're explaining me the concept of a reggae song and then like ivory poaching, like that, like it goes well already. Just hearing about the concept, in my opinion.
Yeah, because there's something about the reggae rhythm that just like it translates to just
Overcoming.
overcoming and strength and just like freedom and all these things. And I just think
Quality.
and it's obviously you think of somebody like Bob Marley, who was such a political force too, and you just I just really wanted to speak out against injustice with that song. And
Agreed. Yeah, no, reggae really does represent like the seeing the light in times of darkness, almost. Like,
exactly, yeah.
yeah,
Fighting for freedom kind of thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned that you were in a band, or actually I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but we know this, that you were in a band Tribe Royal.
Yeah.
I kind of want to just hear about like your tours and stuff like that. How many tours did you go on?
Oh, we started touring in 2015. We started doing these tours, these independent tours to the East Coast, and that went on for like 3 years, I think. We did
Oh,
that
wow.
3 years in a row, 2015 to 2017, and then
Van living?
yeah, we all like lived in a trailer together and cuddled together but
No, because I know what it is. Like I like just living in a van and shit, and like stopping at grocery stores and like pitching on food to make your costs go down, and just like eating porridge in the morning and shit like that. And, like
we ate a lot of like beans and rice. Like,
Yeah, dude.
that's what I mean. Like that kind of shit.
There's a lot of we had a lot of great times together, and I kind of miss going on the road, but like hopefully I can do that in the future. And yeah,
That's awesome. I don't know. I mean, yeah, just living beans and rice. I mean, that's it. For me, it was porridge, and it was chicken and kale in like a wrap,
Yum.
and like just Dijon mustard. But man, at the end of it, like
That sounds
I was
delicious.
so
Does
tired
sound
of
rad.
Dijon. I no, but like you eat the same thing over and over again because it's cost effective. You know, like one of those cooked chickens. And,
Oh, yeah.
and just like you split it like 3 ways, you have like 2 sandwiches each. It's like actually really, really good. But like, yeah, at the end, I was not digging like kale and like Dijon mustard. and
Kale's
shit
pretty
like
damn
that.
chewy. I think you really got to cook it to like well, for me at least, anyways. If I have it raw, it's just like I can't like eat like a whole like leaf of this thing. It's just like
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
lot
very,
to chew.
it's very dense.
I
yeah.
eat, I eat kale raw all the time, man. Personally, like I was just eating kale. Oh no, I wasn't that time, but I buy kale. Like I love kale, man. So I eat it a lot.
it's good to love. It's like I think one of the healthiest vegetables out there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like nutrition wise.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Definitely, man. Are you thinking of maybe swinging by the open mic at live sometime soon?
I
Check
really
it out?
want to. Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, I'd love
I
to hear
think
you
I should.
jam, man.
Yeah, no, I think I really want to set up a show there as well. But I think yeah, no, I definitely should stop by for an open mic sometime.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of setting up a show, are you? I forgot to ask. Are you? And I might have missed this earlier, but are you under the name Abe Shep, like for your
Yep.
artistry? Oh, okay. And is it like a band with you as well, but just doing like your music kind of thing?
I've never like played with a band before actually, but I really want to. I really want to set up a band. I sometimes just don't know where to start. I've been playing shows
course.
by myself for years now, and just sometimes I feel like that's all I need, and I feel pretty comfortable with that.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna get on that really soon because that's been it's been kind of like bothering me a little bit because I'm like, yeah, I know I have songs that I can just sing by myself, but I want a bit of an accompaniment. So
Yeah, I guess like certain ones you want to like almost fill in more the mood that you're like missing or something, like
Oh, yeah.
instrumentation wise or something like.
yeah.
That's sick, man.
What do you do for like? So I guess being an artist and for all of us because you have to book your own shows and so do you do all that like PR I guess in a way?
Yeah.
What's your method for anybody who's listening who might be interested in getting into it and they don't really know where to start? What would be your like advice in that regard?
Well, I think my advice would just be get to know other musicians in the community and network with them and reach out to as many live music venues as possible. Don't be shy and, just keep pushing as much as you possibly can and enjoy yourself and, do it because you love it. Just don't get discouraged too much, I guess.
Yeah, discouragement is a very real thing for anybody who's listening,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it can weigh its toll for sure. But I agree with you.
And for any artists out there, if you are playing a venue, make sure that you respect the staff and the sound guy.
100%.
And shit won't go fucky.
Yeah. Always be nice to each other and like be respectful.
And yeah,
if you
anybody
can.
really, to be honest. Like,
Sometimes you can't always get that, but that comes with life.
yeah, that's it. That's why you got to give people patience at the end of the day. That's
Yeah.
why I like still just kind of like brush it off if people are in a mood. It's just like, yeah, sometimes you have a long day. And if people are on tour all the time, like it's like maybe they had a shitty day, their bus broke down or like,
Yeah.
they lost their amps or something. It's like I can't give them like I can't make them feel bad for that.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to kind of like put in the work and kind of like actually do it yourself. But what else do you like? Do you do this through email or do you like submit clips of like a link to your SoundCloud or?
Well, like there's a place that I go on called Submit Hub, and sometimes I get great feedback from there. And I try to submit my music to playlists or blogs or whoever. And
No
so
way.
I just
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of daunting because some people are like, oh, I don't know about the song, it sucks, or this song is just it's not for my playlist or whatever. But it's a good way to just get heard and just get your stuff out there and see if people will accept it because they might put your stuff on TikTok or wherever, and there's just so many ways you can just get your music out there. It's just kind of fun.
Yeah, we live in the digital age, right? So everything is accessible very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah, use those resources as much as we can.
And yeah, I guess just like on the topic of like doing your own sort of promoting and stuff like that, or like, have you ever played any venues like outside of Ottawa or something that you've kind of like reached out to that you really enjoyed, or like something like Canadian or not, maybe even like across the border?
Honestly, as a solo artist, I've really yet to get my music out there, and that's one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot. Is just like even going somewhere in Quebec or somewhere in Ontario, and that's my next goal is to just get out there as much as possible and tour the world eventually, I guess. But I have a job to take care of, and it's with my job I have like mostly a team of 3, so it's really hard to just take time off at this very moment. So
Yeah, that's a great point. How do you, a lot of people are in the same boat. I'm in the same boat. Justin's in the same boat. We're both, doing the 9 to 5 hustle to kind of, the way that I saw it is like, okay, I'll get a decent job so I can get some decent money in order to invest that money into like my craft,
Yeah.
whether it's like getting a better DAW, whether it's getting a better computer, gear, all that stuff. How do you like manage that working, I guess, full time and still, following, the musical path, so to speak?
Well, right now, that's a good question because I have so many plans, so many things that I want to do that I don't know if I necessarily can do. So there are definitely like roadblocks there. Like, if I want to just do a show in Toronto or Montreal, I don't really want to do it during a work day or where I have to book a day off just because I'm doing a show, because
Well, yeah, you're sacrificing a day.
Yeah,
And
exactly,
then that's
you know?
also like a pay, it's income, right? So it's like, it's
Yeah.
hard. But I mean, to have the will in general, just to go and follow that, it says something about somebody, and I think we can all agree that
It
we're all
does.
in the same boat in
Totally.
that sense, for sure.
Like the fact that you put that much time into your craft while you're still working. It's just like it shows your commitment and passion for it. And like
100%. Like, I think I've done a lot of that over the years where I've had to take a lot of days off just to, travel and, go into the studio. But like these days, I can just, work full time and just, go into the studio when I can or do a show when I can. And sometimes, you have to make sacrifices. If you have a blues fest gig, you might not be able to work that day if you have a show
Yeah.
at like 1 o'clock or something.
That's-
You know what I mean?
It's a pretty good reason not to work that day, though.
Yeah,
We're playing
100%.
Blues Fest, for sure.
that's it.
You'll-
Yeah.
You'll probably be getting a decent amount of money too that'll make up for the workday. So
Yeah.
That's it.
Fair.
Well,
No, I feel the same way. It's like, we hope to, with this kind of thing too, is just like reach a global scale and just, have our friends and family just succeed from global exposure. And
oh yeah, that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, and also just sharing ideas with people. Like I think that's another beautiful thing about doing a podcast is like having just the ability to project like normal life and like normal interaction that we have as a friend group in here. And this is like our life that we experience every day in our friend group and our local music scene that we're integrated into. But now we're able to like hopefully, if it catches on, like expand it to the world. Because it's like I love living here. I love the community we have. I love
That's
the musicians in the city, and it's like it's great to like kind of I guess like try to make a platform to like show it out, And what was another thing I was going to ask? Oh, speaking of Quebec, if ever you were looking to play a show at like one of the more renowned venues in Quebec, Black Sheep is really cool.
Black Sheep, yeah.
I think you probably
You
heard
probably
of it.
played
in,
it
in
before,
Wakefield.
right?
I always associate that venue with just being an Ottawa venue because it's so nearby. Wakefield isn't really that far.
Yeah.
But in places in Hull too, like are places that I could consider. Sorry, I'm moving this camera.
Another question I wanted to ask you is about Tribe Royal because I haven't talked to you guys in a long time. So I was just wondering, I kind of haven't seen anything going on with them for a while. So I was just wondering if they're still active.
That's a good question. I think we've gone our separate ways. Maybe there's a possibility of us coming together again. Mm-hmm. It was funny because I was listening to one of the albums that we did together, and I was like, wow, we've really made some beautiful stuff together. And
Yeah, it was like I enjoyed it, man.
yeah,
I'm just saying that it was
just
the last album too. I was like, there's one song on it specifically. I can't remember what the song name was. But I was like, that could be a hit,
Oh, that's great to hear. I think sometimes like I was in that band for over half a decade, and
That long.
there's been a lot of good and bad times, and I just I listened to like our record the other day, and I'm like, this was a really great reason to just like go through all of that I went through, and it was just sometimes like music being the driving force of going through all this other extra shit is just really what makes it worth it, So
Yeah, the catalyst that makes you persevere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like even just always having those memories there. It's like other things in life too. It's like even you could compare it, I guess, to relationships and shit too. Just like you can't always look at it as like a failure or like a or not a failure, sorry, but like just something negative that happened, and like hold on to it. But like all these things are like accumulations that led you to where you are, and it's always like a good memory to have. And it's like you guys will always have that connection and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
And that
I mean, when we have our bad days, like it's just like at the end of the day, we're all doing something that we love doing. You know, if it's just we might have a disagreement or whatever. I mean, this goes for just all bands. You know, at the end of the day, they're just really striving to create music and striving to do something that they love. So, yeah.
That's it, and the good times will always be there. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
Like it'll always
I
be.
feel
like
I feel like it's a bit harder in the Canadian scene in general. You know what I mean? Like the U.S. is obviously like that's where like a lot of the popular music comes from that we hear today, especially on the radio. And I feel like the Canadian scene, it's still there's a lot more people now than there were for sure. Like even if you look at Ottawa too, like from I've heard stories of older people telling me, like back in the day, like I'm talking about maybe 90s or whatever, they didn't have like good musicians like we do now. Like it's changed a lot. Now we have like some solid jazz guys, for instance, who are London Gentleman Records or like the Chocolate Hot Pockets. These guys are like
I love the Chocolate Hot
heavy
Pockets.
hitters. You know what I mean? So
Ed
it's
Lister
like
on trumpet.
yeah, exactly, Ed Lister. So like I just feel like I feel it's cool that it's growing in Ottawa. And I think that's one of the goals too for us is to kind of like to expose that a bit, to like talk to people, because from what I heard, I might be completely wrong, but from what I heard, it was just rockers back in the day, they're just playing like 1-4-5, like like E chord and C chord and shit like that. So yeah,
it's just it's weird when you think of music in like a mainstream sense these days. You don't really hear about like rock bands, just breaking it into the mainstream, but like there's when you're in the music scene and a local music scene, you probably know like 20 or 30 different rock bands because there's just so much music out there, but yeah, it's just and I guess you don't really hear of a lot of jazz bands that make it mainstream unless there's maybe like something like the Snarky Puppy or
Snarky Puppy is dope, man. I love
that kind
the
of
Snarky
almost
Puppy.
take that style and they do that unique sort of genre mash where they're like adding different shit. Like even another one is Wolfpack or whatever. Yeah, it's like
Wolfpack is dope.
some like there's almost like some electronic aspects to it. Sometimes they do some like old school like almost psychedelic style shit, and it's like but like the underlying thing is like funk and jazz and
yeah. That's crazy.
Even Anderson .Paak's an example of that if you think about it. Like it's more hip hop, I guess, and more like
soul
kind
or
of
something,
upbeat soul, but it's like you could definitely get funk roots in there. You could definitely get some jazz, like some I like even R&B. I mean, more so with Silk Sonic and stuff like that.
I love the Silk Sonic's record.
Same.
I was
It's
so happy
great,
to hear. It was definitely the best thing that I've heard Bruno Mars do. It was just
I agree.
impressive.
I was talking to a friend about this the other day. It's like Bruno, like I felt like Bruno really like shone on that. Like it seemed like his style and just his like he seemed comfortable in that sort of like setting.
And the collaboration between Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars, like them together too. He's drumming on it, right? So
He's an amazing drummer too. He's
he's next level.
Yeah, he's just not like a simple like backbeat kind of drummer. He's just got so many cool rhythms.
Particular, with what he wants to do or whatever song it is.
It's true. A lot of like syncopation and like kind of doing the rap side of it. Like when he's able to like rap and sing and stuff while he's playing, it's like he integrates his drum hits into that sometimes, and almost like what's the word I'm looking for? Like accentuates his lyricism with like drum hits and stuff like that. Like, that shit's cool.
Yeah, he's definitely got like he's an amazingly talented guy for sure. I know.
Who like currently right now, like just local scene wise, who like what artist is gonna make you go out and see them? Like who's your favorite local artist so far?
Man, there's so many out there that I'm always discovering more, and honestly, I think of my friends. I think of there's Dan Kelly. That's out there. There's
Shout out Dan Kelly.
Dance and the
Dan
High
Kelly's
Flyers.
dope.
There's a Harea band. There's so many groups out there that are just making really great, innovative music, and I'm always stoked to hear more.
That's awesome.
Damn right, dude. And actually, I was gonna say Dan Kelly frequents open mic quite a bit.
Yeah, he does.
I always love mixing him.
Yeah, I wanted to get him on this podcast actually.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yo, shout out Dan, man. Get on the podcast sometime, dude.
I think I noticed that he
great.
follows this page, so I think he'll.
I sent him an email, but he never answered.
Yo,
He doesn't really
Dan,
answer.
you're being called out. We got Kayo-Tea, bro. We got
Sorry, what? Sorry?
He you have to really catch him at the right time of day, I think, when it comes to Dan. I haven't mastered that yet.
Oh, really? Yeah.
No.
Oh, interesting.
Man, it's like feng shui.
He's like a nocturnal animal or something, maybe.
Nocturnal
I don't
animal.
know.
You gotta hit him with the 3 a.m. like you're watching like an infomercial for Magic Bullet, and there's that lady smoking the cigarette in the kitchen.
Yeah,
you
that's
gotta get him on Instagram DM only.
The cue is the lady smoking the cigarette, right? I guess, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you know what I'm talking about, eh?
No, actually, I don't.
Oh, okay. Have you guys ever seen those Magic Bullet infomercials though, where they're like,
Yeah,
or those
like the
infomercials where they
ShamWow.
got a kitchen and there was
ShamWow.
one specific one though. I remember seeing it like 3 a.m. and there was just like a couple that was there, and then one random dude, and then like this older lady, and she just had the really typical like disheveled like curly gray hair and like kind of like big long gold like necklaces and stuff, and she's like, "Hey, dear, like." Does that thing really blend that well? And the guy's like, of course the Magic Bullet blends well. Like, oh, watch. And then she's like smoking a dart. I'm like, who the fuck just smokes a dart in a studio kitchen, like next to a bunch of people, just while making a smoothie? But anyway, that's irrelevant. But I'll make sure to message you then, Dan.
And we are going to be linking Abe Shep stuff in the description, so make sure that you look, because we'll link it there. It's going to be on pretty much everything on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. You guys will be able to listen to it there. So the links that you sent me that I asked in the email there, we're going to put that down there. So.
Awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, the name of that song, what was it called again?
The Wild Animals. There's
Wild
a
Animals?
lyric video for it up on YouTube, and there's
Okay,
a bunch
sick.
of footage of just animals just living life.
That's awesome, dude. I'm going to check that out.
Do you have a set release?
Wanna hear
I
it?
don't know if you said you said April 7th was for your show, but do you have a set release date for the new EP that's coming out?
I don't, but I plan on. I think a single is coming out sometime soon, but like that's somewhat up in the air. But like you can probably expect to see something in the next couple of months.
Okay.
So
And is that something
your
that you
eyes
do
open.
normally? Do you do like maybe record 4 songs as an EP and then you release one at a time as a single, or?
yeah, I mean, with my last EP, it was just an acoustic thing. I released the Wild Animals first, so that was the first thing that I ever released actually. And this time I released a single called Your Looks, and that was the first actually song that I released that wasn't just an acoustic guitar. It actually had like a beat to it, and it was very much kind of an electronic song. And that's going to be on my EP that's coming out. And yeah.
And and this is with the guy, the Sebastian that you're talking about,
Yeah.
that you work with him, right?
Yeah.
So in a way, it's almost like you're working with someone. It's not he's producing it, but you're also kind of helping produce it as well, right?
Well, it's funny because when people say produce something, like, you know, they could be referring to like them composing a beat or them being the engineer. So I think the person that actually helped me make the beat is a guy named Paul Napash, a very talented beat maker. So he was in the studio at the time and
Okay.
coming up with melodies and just really helping craft the song.
Dope.
While Sebastian was, you know, doing the tech sort of things and, you know, producing, engineering it, whatever. But yeah, so it was a fun experience.
Do you produce like at all, or?
I don't do any of that stuff. I don't make beats. The only thing I know how to do is pick up a guitar and write a song, I guess.
Okay, so you don't even like
crucial.
You don't like work with like a DAW or anything. You've never dabbled with Pro Tools or Fruity Loops or anything like that.
Oh no, I don't even. Sometimes I don't really know how to keep a. I don't know much about rhythm and playing drums and stuff like that. I just pretty much know strings and yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing. I'm not like pro at it either. You know, it's
Yeah.
something that I'm definitely slowly getting into and stuff. I'm fortunate enough to be having a good friend who basically is a production master over here. I mean,
wow.
we produce our own song.
You know.
You know, the song that we're talking about. Maybe we'll show it to you after, and you can tell
Yeah,
us.
please do. Yeah, that'd be
you know?
awesome.
Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, we recorded it here, and we have you know, we're fortunate enough to kind of create that environment. That's the goal of like this place that we live. And we actually have a pretty sick jam space downstairs, full drum, bass, everything. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
We're actually speaking of like doing the band stuff, like we were talking about earlier. We're actually hoping to do maybe a tiny desk style,
Wicked.
little
Yeah.
live off because I mean we got the cameras for it now. It's another avenue to kind of show art. Like, and I've always just thought that'd be so sick. Like ever since I've seen the Mac Miller one, like the Anderson .Paak one, like I've just always wanted to physically be the one doing like the mic setup and then mixing it after and putting it to the video and just hearing what it sounds like.
I would love
So-
to be a
we-
part of this thing.
Yeah.
Well,
'cause-
this man right here just sealed the deal. He's the first one.
I sealed it.
Yeah, 100%, man. Because we're gonna like have it under the different series on our YouTube page, right? It's gonna be called the Writing Room, and
Okay.
so we have the Writing Room. That's just like a one-on-one kind of like artist, you know, who's just like singing, and it's just like, you know, we'll do like 3 takes, super
Yeah,
easy.
and more demo style.
More demo
Like,
style, right? But then we'll have the writing room sessions, which is going to be like kind of like what we were talking about, where you were just mentioning now, sorry, where it was more of like kind of like an NPR kind of like tiny desk like environment, right?
Wicked.
But showcasing people's originals, like that's
Yeah.
kind of the key to
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
you know. And like
Okay.
obviously people would, you know, obviously wouldn't be doing covers and stuff because we couldn't legally do it, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
well, actually, I don't know. I guess you could do a cover; it doesn't really matter. But like,
Yeah,
if you're
there's-
starting to monetize or something, I don't know.
No one's gonna sue you for doing a cover, right? I
Yeah,
guess,
exactly.
yeah.
Because it would say cover too. But but aside
Cover
from
in
that, yeah,
brackets.
just like I don't know, I just really want to showcase people's music, but also like what was the other thing? Oh, that's how the writing room originally started. Was my friend Nolan like had written a song that day, and then he was kind of like practicing it over and over while we were doing shit. And then he's just like, "Hey man, like, can I maybe try like?"
He wrote it
record
that
this live
day.
off the floor. Yeah, and
You
we
wrote
just-
day of.
yeah, which actually blew my mind. Yeah, we could show you that too, actually, before you, if you want.
No, that'd be
Before they-
awesome.
But yeah, it was just kind of one of those things where I was like, oh, it would actually be cool to do this more often, and you know, and then I did my own one, like just for fun. But it was like a way of like doing a professional recording, but also maybe like showcasing someone in more of a vulnerable sense, like in the sense that it's just like, oh, it's just a demo, like it's just someone kind of performing it, and they haven't actually fully mastered it yet.
Wicked.
You know, necessarily. And it's like, but then I'm hoping, yeah, the band one in the basement's a little more, get it more refined and epic and shit.
There's something too. I was kind of thinking about it because I remember, especially for me, I used to live at a different place, and like it depends. I don't know where you live or whatever. If you live in like in a house or an apartment or whatever.
A townhouse.
Okay, so do you ever get
nice.
any like complaints from the neighbors, or are they like most likely like most of the time chill? Because I've had situations where like there was this one guy, he was across the street, and he was just like, you know, very very not nice old man, and
Oh.
and he would just like
remember
we'd be
that.
playing like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and like it's a band, and it's in a house, like you could still hear it, but like type of guy who's gonna like call the cops and like, you know, be that type of guy, or you know, you could just come knock on my door. And, you know, just like, hey, man, I'd appreciate it if you don't play at this point in time, like, during these hours, you know, like, there's no leeway. So I don't know if you've experienced something like that. Or,
I've never have. You know, the only thing that I've done in my house is just, you know, either play my guitar through an amp or a bass through an amp. I've never really had a full band kind of situation, but I have. The only time where my neighbor threatened to call the cops on me was, you know, when I threw a party at my house with, you know, pretty questionable people, and one guy like puked on my neighbor's like front doorstep or something like that. So I mean, then she threatened to call the cops. That was pretty reasonable. So
Yeah, you look at the pile of puke, you're like, yeah, fair. like
Exactly.
I'll clean it up right now.
that's what happens
That's
at parties.
respectable.
I don't even know I don't know who cleaned up the puke. Actually, come to think of it, but anyway,
It was probably you, Matt. You know what I mean?
I
you're
should have.
covering for
I
your friend.
don't think I did, but
No, well, hey, if you have no memory of, yeah, I was gonna say if you were the one that did it, you'd remember.
yeah.
You're like, yeah, that was my task.
What's your like one of your most memorable things that you can think of in terms of seeing someone play? Like you talked about Sam Roberts.
Oh, wow.
Is there anything like something that was very prominent that stuck out to you?
Seeing someone play, like, oh, there's so many memorable concerts. But I remember seeing Jimmy Cliff at Blues Fest, and that was such a great concert. And
Dope.
just, I
Who's
think
Jimmy
he
Cliff?
Jimmy Cliff. I
Oh,
can
yeah.
see clearly
Oh,
now.
shit.
He's got his own like famous cover version of that song.
Yeah. Okay.
And he has a song called well, when I heard it, I actually thought it was an original song called Afghanistan, but like he wrote a song about Vietnam, but then he made it about Afghanistan, and I just that was a song that really stuck out in his set that I thought was like amazing, and like some of the people that were there were just like dancing so freely to his music, and were just like, you know, in a trance by it, and it was just that was a really memorable concert, probably one of my favorites. But yeah,
That's sick, dude.
yeah.
Crazy. No, I've never seen him. That's why I was asking. Like I didn't even know who he was. For some reason, I don't know why. I don't know.
Oh, it's all good.
But what is what's the future look like for Abe Shep? Musically.
Musically, I still have a lot of things that I want to do and want to accomplish and want to pursue. You know, I want to play outside of Ottawa. I want to play more in Ottawa. I want to keep recording and, you know, finally get a band together. And so those are things that are on my to-do list. So that's what the future's looking like.
Would you be playing bass
Um,
or guitar?
You know, I've thought of playing bass like and that might happen, but I think, you know, for the most part, I'm just going to be playing guitar because it's easier. I find to just strum a few chords and sing.
Well, for sure for reggae, I mean, it would be dope to have like a full band, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Do you have any prospects?
Prospects?
Yeah, like people that you've considered maybe reaching out to that you think would be interested in joining the project.
I'm not really sure. I guess I'm just gonna have some auditions and some. I'm gonna meet some people that I have good chemistry with. I still have a lot of exploring to do, I guess. So, but I have some people in mind. Yeah.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
You could always try the like Kijiji Avenue, you know? Sometimes you find some gems on there.
Yeah, Kijiji's a good place. But I also know quite a few people. So yeah.
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 Speaking of which, would you ever be up for a hip hop collaboration?
I love
with a
hip hop.
rapper. Yeah.
I mean,
I love writing rap. So.
I love to sing, but I also like I actually was in kind of a hip hop kind of group. It didn't last very long, but
No
like
shit.
I have a deep appreciation for hip hop and hip hop lyrics, and yeah, so
Dude, man. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'd be down to collaborate with you if you're down.
I would love to. Yeah, no, that's
Sick,
a great
bro.
idea. There you go.
Is there anything like final advice that you could give to anybody who's listening who wants to go on the avenue? Maybe they don't know how to do it. Maybe they're afraid.
Just do it and don't be afraid.
Just do it. Don't be afraid. As simple as that, eh?
Yeah. I mean, I just always focus on really what you love doing, and you know, if honestly, like, don't do it for some kind of reward. Like, if you really want to just be famous and you really want to just make money, I mean, I don't know if music is necessarily for that. It's all about the love for music, and I don't know if anybody like picks up an instrument and is just like, I fucking hate this, but I just want to make money from it. I don't know many people that do that, but I'm sure there are some.
I hope not. I hope not.
Yeah, like I've even been talking to people before, and there was one person in my life who was a guitarist, and like I remember him having a deep appreciation for guitar when he had started out, and he got really good at it and very like technical, but he got to the point where he was playing music so almost like robotically and like only playing it to do certain types of like venues and like, which is great, like you want to play a certain environment, I guess, but yeah, certain, like he was just doing it in such a meticulous way, but I could see it was kind of draining him of it, like, and it was making him, and like every time he'd jam he just had like the same sort of approach and perspective to it, and I feel like it just kind of ruined his passion for it a little bit.
I think it kind of happens sometimes when you're playing a song like for the 500th time or something. Sometimes you just you can't help but just not really care. You're just like, oh, okay, I'm making $60 from this gig. Fuck it, fuck this song.
True, yeah.
But you know, it's good to always just enjoy it and just be optimistic about the 500th time you play the song. You know.
Yeah, look at like the people's faces maybe and take in like how the audience is perceiving it and stuff.
Yeah, get inspired by the way they're dancing, or you know, by the fact that you're
like that.
meeting people that night or something.
Yeah, exactly, man. Those are the little things to appreciate.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess one last thing I'll just touch on quickly was when you said about don't be afraid. You know, it's like it's kind of funny because it's also like use that fear that you have to drive you. I find
That's
it's like
fair.
a lot of times
Yeah.
I'll just admit it like straight up when I'm doing these podcast interviews, when I'm doing my music, when I'm writing, when I'm performing on stage, I'm always afraid. I'm always like in some sort of version of fear or like, you know, but you just kind of like live through it almost, and then it's like that's what drives your heart rate up, and it just gets you fucking going, and it's like it's kind of almost like counteracting your fear and using it as fuel.
Yeah,
So
it's
anyway.
kind of like thrilling, like the you know, just like you're overcoming something when you have that fear. I guess it's not always a bad thing.
Exactly.
It happens a
exactly.
lot.
And that's why I like that you said don't be afraid, because you're like just kind of do it, and then like after you'll feel good.
Happens a lot too with like social media too. You know, when you want to post something on Instagram, even if it's just you playing, you know, there's like that fear association of like, oh, like I don't want to post this because for whatever reason, maybe you feel like, you know, oh well, people like it, and it's like at the same time, like it's not for you to judge. You know, you just like release it and just post it anyway, and don't fear that.
Yeah, it's crazy how much we like, you know, second guess ourselves, or like, you know, when it comes to social media, I think it's best to just be yourself and be original and
Authentic.
Just-
People
yeah.
people like see that, you know.
Yeah, no, for
It's
sure.
not like this, like, let's put 1,000 filters on and
No.
Yeah.
I'm chilling by the side of a fucking nice car and blah blah.
Well,
And
and
it's
if you think about it, at the end of the day, too, like you're saying, it's you're living your truth. So it's like the only energy that you're going to receive from that, and the only type of people that are going to come into your environment and into your bubble are those that are like that should be around you, or that
Exactly.
you'll
Yeah.
feel good about
That's
having
very,
around,
very
right?
true.
Yeah. Instead of like, because there's a lot of people that just like come into your life that it's like they have no good intention for you. It's like
That's the kind of people that you need to block on Instagram.
That's it.
Abe Shep, honestly, man, we'd like to thank you for coming on our show.
Seriously.
It's been a hell of a conversation, and
Thank you so much. It's been
Yeah.
great.
yeah, no, thank
Thank
you a
you,
lot.
dude,
and,
honestly.
and something that we've been doing too is like it's almost like we'd like to do a follow up for sure in the future. Maybe see like what progress and how far you came, and so we'd definitely love to have you back on.
I love
if you're
that.
up for
And,
it.
yeah, and anytime you guys want me to swing by to sing a tune or
For sure. And
Totally.
Great.
Yeah.
and everybody's listening, go back to our YouTube page because we're gonna get Abe Shep to come and do an actual like writing room session.
Yeah.
And we can do that in the next coming weeks whenever you're available. And we hope everybody has a great day. Peace and love.
Absolutely, and he'll be
peace and love.
likewise, peace and love, and like he'll be the first one into the new little sessions, and also April 7th, check it out, Rainbow, Abe Shep playing.
Link in the description.
That's the last thing I want
And
to say.
like our shit, don't like our shit. It's all good. We're still gonna be here. So have a great day, everybody. Peace.
peace, guys.